Welcome to a deep dive into Bitcoin security.
Oh, yeah.
We're going beyond the headlines today,
Hmm.
exploring not just the what of threats, but the why,
Yeah,
so you can truly grasp how to protect your assets.
exactly. Forewarned is forearmed, as they say.
Absolutely. Our guide today is Francesco Madonna, a
Okay.
co-founder of Bitvaulty.
Mhm.
We're pulling from his interview on the Larpar Show YouTube channel.
Okay.
His Bitcoin origin story is wild.
Yeah.
Starting in 2017 when a friend showed him a chart of Bitcoin's price.
Oh, wow.
It was like a lightning strike.
It often starts that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One simple chart and suddenly you're down the rabbit hole.
Totally. He told the interviewer he bought and sold some Bitcoin when it was around $5,000.
Wow.
But the idea of scarcity, that fixed supply, drew him back in.
Right.
He's been a holder ever since, but it hasn't all been smooth sailing. He shared a story about almost falling victim to a scam so sophisticated,
Oh.
it makes you realize how cunning these attacks can be.
Oh, absolutely. This wasn't some amateur phishing email. Right.
This was a targeted attack involving a fake loan offer.
Right. And to make it even more convincing, they created a bugged wallet
Yeah.
disguised as a legitimate app
Jeez.
that actually got onto the Apple Store.
That's what makes this so scary for a lot of people.
I know.
It preys on your trust in established platforms.
Yeah.
You think if it's on the Apple Store, it must be safe.
Right.
But this shows that even tech giants can be exploited.
That's unsettling.
Yeah.
So this experience left Francesco fearing for his safety, thinking he might be targeted for a physical attack.
Oh, gosh.
I imagine hearing that would make anyone consider our physical threats a real concern with Bitcoin.
It's understandable to worry about that, especially as Bitcoin's value increases.
Right.
Francesco acknowledges that it is a concern.
Yeah.
However, he emphasizes that currently the bigger threat to most Bitcoin holders isn't someone breaking into your home, but rather digital attacks.
But isn't that kind of counterintuitive?
Yeah.
You'd think the more valuable Bitcoin becomes, the more people would try to steal it physically. But the reality is that most attacks exploit human error.
Oh.
You see, as Bitcoin gains popularity, we're seeing a huge wave of new users
Right.
who might not have the technical know-how to keep their Bitcoin safe.
I can see that if you're new to self-custody, the learning curve can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're suddenly responsible for safeguarding your own assets,
Right.
and it's easy to make mistakes.
That's where tools like multisig and time-delayed transactions come in,
Okay.
which Francesco's a huge advocate for. Multisig requires multiple keys to authorize a transaction.
Yeah.
It removes that single point of failure.
So instead of one key that could be lost or stolen,
Right.
you have multiple keys and you need more than one to access the funds.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's like a safety deposit box requiring 2 keys to open.
Right.
You wouldn't give both keys to the same person, would you?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And time-delayed transactions add another layer of security by creating a waiting period before the transaction is finalized.
Imagine setting a timer on your safe. If someone tries to force you to open it, you can say, I can open it, but we have to wait for the timer to run out.
Yeah.
It buys you precious time to react.
Those are pretty powerful tools.
Yeah.
But is multisig really enough?
Hmm.
Let's say an attacker forces you to reveal one key location.
Yeah.
Would they believe you if you claimed the others were inaccessible?
Right.
They might just escalate the situation if they think you're lying.
That's a crucial point, and it's why Francesco developed Bitvaulty.
Okay.
He recognized the limitations of even the most robust multisig setups
Yeah.
when faced with a determined attacker.
So how does Bitvaulty address this?
It combines multisig and time-delayed transactions with what's called a decoy wallet.
Oh, interesting.
This creates a transparent system where the attacker can see your funds,
Okay.
but as they can't immediately access them due to the time lock,
Right.
you're not hiding the Bitcoin. You're simply making it impossible for them to steal it quickly.
That's clever.
Yeah.
By proving the existence of the time delay, you remove the incentive for the attacker to escalate the situation, right?
Exactly why risk further action when you know you can't get the funds right away.
Yeah.
It plays on that inherent desire for a quick and easy score.
It's almost like a built-in negotiation tactic.
Right.
It gives you time to de-escalate or even get help.
That's a great way to put it. But there's another layer to Bitvaulty,
Okay.
and it goes beyond just the technical features. Francesco is adamant about the importance of open source software.
That makes sense, but some people might argue that closed-source software can be more secure because the code is hidden from potential attackers.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's a valid point, but Francesco's own experience highlights the risks of closed activity. or partially closed source software.
Okay.
He actually encountered a bug in a well-known wallet that was partially closed source,
Oh.
and it made him realize that true self-custody requires complete transparency.
So open source allows anyone to audit the code and verify its security, which builds trust and accountability.
Exactly. It's like having a public inspection of the vault's blueprints.
Right.
You can see how it works.
Yeah.
Check for weaknesses and be confident that there are no hidden backdoors.
And Bitvaulty is fully open source from day one using the Apache 2.0 license.
That's right.
But wouldn't that mean anyone could just copy the code and create their own version?
That's the beauty of the Apache 2.0 license.
Okay.
It allows for both free self-hosting for tech-savvy users who want complete control and paid convenience services for those who prefer a bit more hand-holding.
So it caters to both ends of the spectrum,
Yeah.
giving you the choice to either dive into the technical details or opt for a more user-friendly experience.
Exactly.
But even with the best tools and open source transparency, human error remains a factor, right?
Absolutely. And that's something Francesco's very passionate about addressing.
Yeah.
We've made great strides in security technology, but human behavior is often the weakest link.
You know, Francesco actually shared a chilling story about a friend who listened to an Apple executive and digitized his passwords.
Oh, no.
You should never do that.
Especially when it comes to your Bitcoin seed phrase that's like leaving the keys to your vault hanging on the public notice board.
Right. But all joking aside, what are some practical tips you'd give to someone new to self-custody to minimize their risk?
First and foremost, etch your seed phrase onto steel plates and store them in multiple secure locations.
It's like the classic advice of not putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
Exactly. Diversify your storage locations and make sure those locations are safe from both physical and digital threats.
That makes sense. Any other tips?
Be cautious with software updates. Newer versions can sometimes introduce vulnerabilities. Sticking with proven stable versions can often be the safer bet.
That's good advice for any software, really. And when you're just starting out in the Bitcoin world, are there any specific exchanges or wallets that you would recommend?
Start with reputable exchanges and well-established open-source wallets like Ledger and Bitbox. These are trusted names in the community with a strong track record of security.
They're like the seasoned guides in a new and unfamiliar territory.
Exactly. They'll help you navigate the complexities of self-custody until you gain the confidence to venture out on your own. But speaking of venturing out on your own, let's talk about the future of Bitcoin security. Francesco has some exciting ideas about how solutions like Bitvaulty can become the new standard.
I am all ears. What does that future look like?
He imagines a world where self-custody is as secure and user-friendly as traditional banking, but without the centralized control.
So a future where anyone can confidently hold their own Bitcoin without fear of losing it, whether to hackers, thieves, or their own mistakes.
Precisely. And that future is being shaped by some pretty groundbreaking technology. For example, Francesco mentioned trustless key recovery systems.
I've heard whispers about those. Can you break that down for me? What makes them trustless?
Well, imagine a key recovery system that doesn't rely on any third party. You don't have to trust a company or an individual to hold your backup keys. Instead, you can use cryptography and social recovery methods to distribute fragments of your keys among trusted friends or family members.
So instead of having one backup key, you break it into pieces and each person holds a piece. But how do you make sure those pieces can be put back together securely?
It's all done through clever cryptography. No single person has access to your entire key. It's a way to decentralize the recovery process, making it much more secure and resilient, like having a safety net for your safety net.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. It seems like the possibilities for improving Bitcoin security are endless. What other innovations are on the horizon?
Francesco also touched on advancements in privacy, like the ARC protocol on the Lightning Network.
I've heard about the Lightning Network, but can you explain the ARC protocol? What does it do?
It essentially offers greater anonymity for transactions, shielding your financial activity from prying eyes. It's like having a secret passage within the Bitcoin network.
So we're talking about a future where Bitcoin is not only more secure, but also more private, giving you greater control over your financial information.
Exactly. And that aligns perfectly with Bitcoin's core principles of decentralization and individual empowerment.
Okay, I have to ask this back to Bitvaulty. You mentioned the decoy wallet.
Yeah.
How does that actually work in practice? Let's say someone is threatening you. Do you just show them your phone and say, look, the Bitcoin is right there, but you can't touch it for another 24 hours?
It's a bit more nuanced than that. Bitvaulty is designed to give you options in a high-pressure situation. You could reveal the decoy wallet demonstrating that you are cooperating, but also highlighting the time delay. The attacker sees a balance, but they also see that it's locked.
So it takes away that element of immediate gratification, making it much less appealing for the attacker to continue.
Precisely. And that time delay can be crucial. It gives you the opportunity to alert authorities or take other measures to protect yourself.
It's a fascinating blend of technology and psychology, really. It's security that takes human behavior into account.
And that's the key to effective security, in my opinion. You can build the most robust systems in the world, but if they don't account for human fallibility, they'll always be vulnerable.
That's a really important point. I think a lot of people focus solely on the technical aspects of security and forget about the human element.
It's understandable technology can feel complex and intimidating, but human behavior is something we can all relate to. We've all made mistakes, been careless, or fallen for a clever trick at some point.
Absolutely. So recognizing our own vulnerabilities is the first step to protecting ourselves.
Exactly. And that's why Francesco's emphasis on education is so important. It's not just about building better tools. It's about empowering individuals with the knowledge and understanding to use those tools effectively.
It's about creating a culture of security consciousness within the Bitcoin community.
And that's something that I think Francesco excels at. He's not just a tech guy. He's a passionate advocate for Bitcoin and its potential to change the world.
And that passion is contagious. It makes you want to dive deeper, learn more, and be a part of this movement.
Absolutely. And that brings us to some of Francesco's other endeavors, which are equally inspiring. You mentioned his podcast store,
Right.
Bitcoin.
Yes. It's a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to delve into the world of Bitcoin. He interviews some really prominent figures in the space, people who are shaping the future of this technology.
It's like getting a backstage pass to the Bitcoin revolution.
Then there's the Bitcoin Ireland conference coming up in May 2025. This is going to be a huge event with people from all over the world gathering to share ideas, collaborate, and celebrate Bitcoin.
It's going to be the place to be for anyone who's passionate about Bitcoin. The energy at these conferences is incredible. It's like a family reunion for Bitcoiners.
A family reunion where you're surrounded by brilliant minds and cutting-edge ideas.
Exactly. It's a place where you can learn from the best, connect with like-minded individuals, and get a glimpse into the future of Bitcoin.
I'm already marking my calendar. It's fascinating how Francesco's perspective on Bitcoin has evolved.
Oh, yeah.
He initially saw it as a speculative investment,
Uh-huh.
but now he sees it as something much bigger.
Right.
He believes that Bitcoin can actually change the world for the better.
That's a common thread among longtime Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
They see it as a force for good, a way to create a more honest and equitable financial system.
It's interesting because in traditional finance, there's a lot of incentive for bad behavior, right?
Yeah.
You have central banks printing money out of thin air. You have Wall Street manipulating markets.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin is different.
Right.
Its fixed supply and decentralized nature just make it harder to game the system.
It's like Bitcoin is designed to promote honesty and fairness. You can't cheat the code, so you have to play by the rules.
That's what I find so exciting about Bitcoin. It's not just a new currency, it's a new way of thinking about money and value.
It's a shift in mindset from extraction to collaboration.
And that shift seems to be attracting a certain type of person to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, Francesco told the interviewer that in his 7 years in the space, he hasn't encountered a single true scammer.
Wow. That's a powerful testament to the kind of community that Bitcoin is building.
It's like a self-selecting group of individuals who are driven by principles rather than just profit.
Right.
They believe in the power of Bitcoin to create a better world.
And that shared belief creates a sense of trust and camaraderie that's rare in the financial world.
That sense of community is something that really stood out to me in the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Francesco is clearly passionate about the people who are drawn to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
He talked about the quality of individuals he's met, their commitment to honesty and building something better.
It's inspiring, isn't it? It gives you hope for the future.
It really does.
It suggests that Bitcoin isn't just about changing the financial system, it's about changing us.
That's a great point. Francesco actually said something similar.
Mm-hmm.
We don't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes us. It's a reminder that adopting Bitcoin isn't just about buying an asset or using a new technology.
Right.
It's about embracing a new way of thinking and interacting with the world.
It's about taking responsibility for your own financial well-being, about understanding the importance of sound money, and about demanding transparency and accountability from the institutions that govern our lives.
And it's about finding your tribe, connecting with people who share your values and are working towards a common goal.
Those are powerful ideas,
Yeah.
and they're at the heart of the Bitcoin movement. It's no wonder Francesco is so optimistic about the future.
Speaking of optimism, we have to talk about Francesco's other projects, which are all about spreading the word and making Bitcoin more accessible.
Yeah.
We've already touched on his podcast store at Bitcoin, but it's worth emphasizing how valuable it is to hear from some of the most influential voices in the space.
It's like getting a masterclass in Bitcoin from the people who are shaping its future. And for those who prefer a more interactive experience, there's the Bitcoin Ireland conference coming up in May 2025.
Oh, right.
It's going to be a massive event drawing people from all corners of the globe.
That sounds incredible. I'm picturing a vibrant mix of seasoned veterans, curious newcomers, developers, entrepreneurs, and everyone in between.
It's a chance to learn, connect, and be inspired by the energy and passion of the Bitcoin community. I'm definitely marking my calendar for that one.
Me too. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We've gone beyond the surface level understanding of Bitcoin security and explored some really profound ideas about the future of this technology and its potential to change the world.
We've learned about the importance of understanding not only the technical threats to your Bitcoin, but also the psychological ones. We've seen how tools like multi-sig time-delayed transactions and decoy wallets can empower you to take control of your security and make informed decisions.
And we've been inspired by Francesco's vision of a future where self-custody is as secure and user-friendly as traditional banking, but without the centralized control and the inherent risks that come with it.
A future where Bitcoin empowers individuals to control their own financial destinies and participate in a more honest and transparent global economy.
A future that's being built right now by passionate individuals like Francesco Madonna and by countless others who are working tirelessly to spread the word, develop innovative solutions, and create a more equitable world for everyone.
So we encourage you to continue exploring the world of Bitcoin. Dive deeper into the technology, the community, and the ideas that are driving this revolution.
Because as we've learned from Francesco, Bitcoin isn't just about money.
No.
It's about freedom. It's about empowerment. And it's about building a future that we can all be proud of.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep believing in the power of Bitcoin to change the world.